Tired of overthinking every little sign the universe sends you about your love life? What if I told you that there's just one key factor that can make interpreting the signs from the universe absolutely effortless? Stick around because today I'm going to reveal this powerful secret that can make decoding the universe's messages about your love life a total breeze. Hello, everybody. I am Vaishal Nikhade. I'm an engineer turned psychic, and I show you how you can leverage the power of stars for your love life. So, one of my clients, let's call her Sarah. That's not her real name, but that's the name we are going to use. And I used her example in the previous video. And this is kind of continuation of that video. So if you haven't watched it, I'll link that video as well, and it's all about receiving the signs from the universe. So let's say that Sarah, this is the universe, and this is Sarah, and these are her ponytails. All right. So this is Sarah, and she asks the universe for a sign about a particular person. And she's very specific in her request, which is she wants to know, or she wants the universe to show the name of a person that she has in mind. And she was almost certain that the universe wouldn't be able to do it. However, the universe did it, and it did it in such an amazing manner that she was floored. Uh, I'm going to show around exactly what that sign was if you stick around until the end, and how the universe showed her that sign. Your goal is to develop your skills to interpret the signs from the universe. So the universe is giving you signs. So this is the universe and this is you. And the universe is giving you signs. Sometimes it can give you multiple signs if you ask for them, or if you don't catch the first one, then the universe may try to kind of ping you a second time and give you another sign. Think of it as a missed call. If you try to call someone, they don't answer, maybe you try to call them again at a later time, hopefully not at the same time. So, or not immediately. So the universe is giving signs, and your goal is to be able to interpret these signs as soon as possible, so that you don't keep out pushing any decision you want to make about your love life. And in order for you to do this, you have to be able to interpret the signs. And in order for you to be able to interpret the signs, you have to develop your intuition. And I give you a few tips in this video as well as to how you can develop your intuition. So let's break down what we learn in today's video. In today's video, we are going to look at one key factor that makes interpreting signs from the universe a breeze, especially when it comes to your love life. How you can strengthen your ability to receive the signs from the universe, how to leverage your strongest intuitive sense, and real life example of how one scenario can play out in different ways for different people. Remember that each one of us is unique, and the universe is going to send you signs in such a manner that you are going to be able to interpret it. All right, so the first one is the one key factor that is going to help you interpret signs from the universe. So, as I mentioned before, this is the universe. So, this is the universe, and this is you, this tiny little creature over here. And the universe is sending you signs, and you want to be able to interpret them. So, what exactly helps you interpret the signs? So, when you receive a sign, when the universe sends a sign and you receive a sign, there is a tool that helps you interpret these signs. And this is actually nothing but your own intuition. So think of your intuition as a translator, something that helps you translate the signs from the universe into something coherent, into something which you can understand in a plain, simple language, whatever is the language that you speak. Sometimes the signs can tell you that you can move forward. Sometimes the signs can tell you that things are not going to move forward. And sometimes the signs may just ask you to wait. So if your intuition is well developed, or you are tuned into your intuition, then it's going to be very easy for you to be able to receive the signs. However, if it's the other way, then you have to work on developing your intuition so that you can start receiving the signs with more ease. So that brings us to the question, how do you strengthen your ability to receive the signs? So let's say the universe is giving you all these signs, and the universe is saying, oh my God, I'm giving this person all these signs, but they're not receiving it. So, how do you strengthen the ability to receive the signs? So, think of the translator analogy that we discussed in the previous video. So, let's say you are this person, and let's say you know 5 languages. So I'm just going to make this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say you speak 5 languages. The first language is English. The second language is, let's say, French, then German, then Italian, and then Spanish. So you speak 5 languages. Now, you could be fluent in one language or extremely fluent in one language or maybe a couple of languages, but the point is that you do not know all these languages with the same fluency. One of them is stronger than the other, or a few of them are stronger than the others. And it almost seems that whenever the other person over here, they try to communicate in this language or this language, your ability to have a conversation, to understand, to interpret, to take action becomes a lot faster. Whereas if they speak in any of these 3 languages, you do understand it, but it's almost like you are running a mind translator. So when you learn a new language, it's almost like, let's say English is your primary language. And when you learn a new language, you're almost kind of translating everything from, let's say you're learning Japanese, then you're almost translating from Japanese to English kind of a thing. And essentially you slow down. But with these 2 languages, you're very, very fluent. So similar to knowing these languages, intuition, we also have, in terms of intuition, we also have intuitive senses. So there is 5 main intuitive senses. There's more than that, but there's 5 main ones. And when intuition is the interpreter, each of these 5 senses is going to translate or express the answer in different ways. So if you're familiar or if you know more than one language, you know that even though you can say one thing in a certain language and you can translate that to other language, sometimes even though you can translate it, a part of the essence cannot be translated, especially if you are talking about proverbs and things like that. So in a similar way, each of these intuitive senses are very, very different, but each one of this is powerful on its own. So even if you have one of these intuitive senses well developed, then what is going to happen is you're going to be able to receive these signs from the universe almost immediately. You don't need to take help from each of these senses. Now, of course, if you have all of these developed, then maybe it will come in the strongest way. Like if these two are very, very strong, then you will get the answer with these 2 senses. However, if you have all of them strong, then the universe will see, okay, which one is the best sense to express this answer, and you'll get the answer in that manner. So what exactly are these intuitive senses? So you may have heard of them, one of them, or you may have heard of the word clairvoyance, which is, it's broken up into 2 words, which is clair and voyance, which means clear vision. So clairvoyance is your ability to see something which is not physical. So think of it as more of a mental image picture. So if I ask you right now that, can you think of this experience you had, let's say in the 10th grade, you can probably think about it and you can probably see. So what would clairvoyance do? Clairvoyance would probably show you an image of that experience that you had, but it's like a mental image picture. It's not real. Existing or it's not existing in the physical world at this point in time. It has happened in the past. So clairvoyance can show you certain things that have happened in the past, but it can also show you the same mental image picture of something that is going to happen in the future. It does not have a sense of timing or human timing. So that is clairvoyance. So I'll probably make a video on all of these senses. I didn't want to get into details into these senses, but similarly, you have clairaudience where you can hear a soft whisper. You have claircognizance where you just know the answer. You have clairsentience where you feel something. So most of the people, they are going to get the answer in a way where they can tap into the answer very, very easily. Which means that when, as soon as the universe is showing you the sign, this interpreter or this translator is going to pop in and say, oh my God, this is the sign. Either you move forward or you don't move forward. So, how exactly do you strengthen your intuition? Intuition is just a muscle and it can be strengthened by working on it. One of the ways you can do it is you can start journaling and writing down the signs you saw and how exactly you saw them. Did you see a mental image picture? Did you like hear a soft whisper? Did you like just know, which is claircognizance? Or did you have like a feeling that, okay, this is the sign and this is what it is, kind of a thing? So over the time, what will happen is you will notice patterns and then you will build trust based on these patterns as to which is your strongest intuitive sense. So this is one of the things that you can develop by, think of it as like, let's say that you know that something is going to happen or someone has told you that, okay, this particular thing is going to happen. So you're always on the lookout for that thing, or your awareness antenna is very high up that, oh, is it this thing? Is it that thing? Is it that thing, kind of a thing? And this is something where if you work with someone who can do predictions accurately, then essentially you can be always looking out for things. And it is also one of the ways you can use to strengthen your intuition, because it's just a muscle. Essentially, you're trying to get this muscle, you're flexing your muscle to always get this information from the universe. All right, so if you'd like to develop your ability to strengthen your intuition, then you can work with me and I can show you how you can interpret signs from the universe about your love life by working on this muscle every week. How exactly do you apply intuition to your love life? Now, if you have to think, like let's say the universe gives you this sign, and if you have to think that is this a sign or is this not a sign? So you're kind of confused. Let's say that the universe gave you a sign, and then you're confused as to whether this is a sign, is this a sign, or is it not a sign? When you are doing that, you're actually using your logical mind. Intuition doesn't work like that. It just pops in and it just gives you the answer. There's no reasoning. There's no when, where, what, why, how, nothing like that. It will just come in a flash, show you the answer, and it's gone. And then your logical mind will start reasoning, oh, how, when, this, that. But intuition doesn't operate like that. It's just like, boom, here's the answer, and then it's gone. Okay, so that's how exactly intuition works. So now let's come back to Sarah's example. So this is Sarah, and she had asked the universe about signs, in particular about a person. And we named this person. If you watched the previous video, we named this person. I'll make sure to link it since I've referenced it at least 10 times before. We named this person John Doe Maker, so it was John Doe, and then I translated it to John Doe Maker just to make things interesting. So Sarah is asking signs about John Doe Maker, and she's kind of put a challenge to the universe that she wants to see like this whole name, the first name as well as the last name. Now she already knew that it would be very easy for the universe to show her the first name because John is a very common name, but Domaker is a very special last name. So she was unsure if the universe would be able to show that to her, and that's the reason she asked that. There's one interesting thing to note is they met in a photography class. So that is how they kind of came in touch with each other, and that's how they interacted with each other. So now she was watching TV, and this is in the previous video, but essentially she was watching TV, and then what the TV was showing is John the photographer, which is essentially referring to John Domaker. So that's how the universe gave her the sign John the photographer. Or it showed another thing, which is John's photography. So this is how the universe gave her the sign John the photographer or John's photography. So the universe was trying to tell her that, okay, I get your point. You want to know about John the photographer, and this is the sign. So now, how are these intuitive senses going to help her interpret this answer, whether or not things are going to move forward with John? So first of all, she's not going to use the logical mind. So she's not going to have to think if this is a sign or it's not a sign. So that part is out. So now let's come to one of the senses. I'll cover a few of the senses. The first sense is that of clairvoyance, which is clear vision. And I give you an example initially. So, if clairvoyance is Sarah's strongest sense, what will happen is when she's watching the TV. So, let's say that she is doing something, she's relaxing and she's watching the TV. So, if clairvoyance is her strongest sense, this particular segment can just come and go and she cannot even notice it because maybe her mind is somewhere else, kind of a thing. So, if clairvoyance is the strongest sense, what will happen is she'll kind of see a flash in front of her sixth sense, which is going to connect this particular episode or this particular segment on TV and tell her that, oh my God, this is the answer that I was looking for. And then she can say that, okay, things are going to move forward with John. However, if she doesn't have clairvoyance as the strongest sense and her intuition is not developed, then what's going to happen is the segment is going to come and go, and she's just going to kind of not even know that she missed the sign. Think of it as if you go for a walk every day, sometimes you may be so used to seeing things, or you may be taking things for granted. So if there is a small change or something has happened, then you may not even be able to notice it. So it's the same way that sometimes we just take things for granted and we don't pay attention to the details. And if Sarah was in that particular space, which is her intuition was not well developed, then she's not going to get this sign and she's going to miss this sign. So that's for clairvoyance. So I'll do a couple more. The second one is clairaudience, which is you hear a soft whisper. So let's say Sarah is watching TV and clairaudience is her strongest intuitive sense. So this is clairaudience, that's the strongest intuitive sense. So what's going to happen is when she's watching TV, she's going to kind of hear a soft whisper saying that it could happen in several ways. It's going to be different for different people, but it could be like, just watch the next few minutes. And then her attention is going to be glued to the TV to see what's going to happen in the next few minutes. And then she sees the sign and she connects the dots. So that could be one way. The other way could be like when she watches the segment, which has John, the photographer, or John's photography, her intuition comes in or her clairaudience comes in and whispers that, oh my God, this is the sign, or that this is the sign which connects this particular segment to John Doemaker, and she has her answer. So that is clairaudience. We'll do one more, which is claircognizance. So claircognizance is you just know the answer. So in this particular scenario, what will happen is when she's watching TV, she sees this and she just knows, just like that. Oh my God, this is the answer. So there is no right or wrong in terms of these intuitive senses, but what exactly happens or what essentially happens is that she gets the answer and she connects to the answer via different senses in different ways, and she still gets the answers. So you can try this. You can ask universe for a sign. You don't have to ask for John Doe maker. You can ask for something else, whatever is happening in your real life or current situation. And especially if it's involving a person and you have questions or doubts about that person in terms of whether or not things are going to move forward, then you can ask the universe for a sign. And essentially, based on how the universe would show the sign, she is going to be able to interpret as to whether things are going to move forward. So now that you know how to trust your intuition and make interpreting signs easier, which is by using your strongest intuitive sense, which is like this particular translator, where you are fluent in 5 languages, excuse me, where you know 5 languages, but you're fluent in 2 of them. Similarly, even though you have these 5 intuitive senses, these 2 are your strongest ones, and it's very easy for you to tap into these because you get an answer almost immediately. With these, it's going to take you a bit longer. So you could potentially work on cultivating these, because at the end of the day, it's a muscle, and the muscle can be flexed and it can be developed. But while you're doing that, you can take advantage of your strongest intuitive sense. So there's one more thing you need to know to master, which is asking the universe for guidance when you're unsure about a person. How do you do that? In my next video, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps on how you can get clear answers from the universe on whether or not this person is the right person for you. Now, it could be like some people are just looking to see if things are going to move forward. Some people may ask the question in a different way. Is this the right person? So you can phrase it however way you want, depending on your situation and depending on your circumstances. So go ahead and check out the next video, and I'll see you in the next video.